I'm Shay Russell from mining.com.au, and joining me today is the Managing Director of Impact Minerals, Mike Jones. Mike, it's a pleasure to see you again. How are you?
I'm very good, thanks, Shay, and a Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you, and I'm thrilled to be starting off my new year to be talking about the Lake Hope High Purity Alumina project. Now, there was an important announcement that you put out on the 9th of January that I didn't see coming, but I think it's really important that we delve into this. So now people have come to associate alumina with the Lake Hope project, but in this particular announcement, you're referencing membranes and potash. Now, we don't expect to hear that from our exploration companies. Let's start with the basics. What do you mean by a membrane, and how does this relate to the potash?
Yeah, thanks, Shay. There was a lot to unpack in the first announcement of our first announcement of the year last week. So for 12 months now, we've been working through a federally funded government grant with Edith Cowan University, the Membrane Resource Recovery Centre there, and also our engineering firm, CPC Engineering, on implementing membrane technology into our flowsheet. The flowsheet was designed for the Prefeasibility Study, which had some very robust numbers last year, and we believe that we can improve significantly on those numbers by introducing these membranes. So you asked what membranes are. There's actually, my mind's been a bit blown by the membranes. There's a wide variety of them, but for many years people have known about filtration. That uses a type of membrane. But nowadays we can get down to micron and even nano-sized particle removal with membranes. And then the next thing after that is what we call reverse osmosis, which is widely used in the water treatment industry. So that's kind of one style. The other style that's around now is being able to selectively extract particular metals or compounds, depending on their chemistry and ionic radius and things like that, into specific membranes. And then the third one is actually using membranes directly to distill or even crystallize crystals. And that's where we think there's a big breakthrough for us, in particular in the potash story to implement the membranes there. So it's a fascinating field. Edith Cowan University are world leaders, and they've already done some amazing work in the lithium and rubidium businesses, and they're about to do some amazing work with the alumina business.
Now, we've been talking about the Lake Hope High Purity Alumina project for quite some time. We're starting to pivot and look at the potash content of it. Why is this important to the project overall?
So our method of making HPA, which is patented, is a three-stage process in the most straightforward manner. The first stage is that we take the ore from Lake Hope, and people have seen us, hitting the rubber mallet into the lake and taking the clay, and the idea is to ship it to Perth for the processing. And so the idea then, so stage one is we put it into an alkaline leach, which produces two things. The first one is a solid residue, the leftover material from the leach, and that goes through to stage two, which is hydrochloric acid leaching, and then stage three is heating their final material to get to our HPA. But from stage one, there's a liquid byproduct which is very rich in sulfate of potash, which is the purest and most valuable form of potash, which is used as a fertilizer. That's its prime use. And we can crystallize that, and it adds a very significant byproduct credit to the cost per ton of production for our high purity alumina. It's one of the secrets to us being one of, if not the lowest cost producer of HPA globally. So it's a very important part of the process that we maximize the amount of money we can make out of that potash. So to summarize very simply, we've been able to crystallize potash directly from our membranes. We've been able to clean up the fluid that goes into those membranes using filtration that we talked about. And also we've been able to selectively extract magnesium from washing the ore to allow it to be fed back into the potash to actually make bespoke potash products. Sounds a bit, perhaps a little bit complicated, but it's very simple when you see the membranes in action. So that's where that crucial thing is there. But as a result of all that work, we've actually found a new method of making potash. And maybe that can be the segue to your next question, Shay.
Well, believe it or not, I was going to say, look, it's great to see explorers having sort of a tech edge in this space. Where does this take the project next? Because I know you've been working on it for quite some time.
That's right. So look, things are going very well in the HPA project. We also will have an update on our investment in Aluminous, which owns the Hypura process, which is a new back end for producing HPA. We believe that the Lake Hope material whether it's the raw ore or the stage 1 residue, could be a potential feedstock, and we're doing a lot of investigation through there. But the Alumina's pilot plant is going very well, and we'll update the market on that soon. But the other thing that's happening now is we've made a significant breakthrough in stage 2, potentially, with the removal of iron using a membrane-based system. That would have, again, very significant effects on potentially lowering the CapEx and OpEx to produce our HPA. But as part of all that research, we've now discovered another method which we can make potash directly from the clay as the primary product. So rather than being a byproduct, it's a different process, but now it looks like we might have a potential second development project that would run in parallel with the HPA, which produces potash as the primary product, and would certainly potentially be a faster market process for us.
It is fantastic to see this duality in commodities play out for Impact Minerals. Michael, it was a pleasure catching up with you and listening about this tech development. Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to the next update.
Not a problem, Shay. There's plenty of news to come in 2026.